My name is John Enroth. I'm a composer for mostly television. I work at Mark Mothersbaugh's post-production music house, Mutato Musica, and have worked here since about 2002. I worked on regular show for Cartoon Network. I did a bunch of score for Thor, Ragnarok, both the 21 and 22 Jump Street. We get to do everything from giant orchestral scores to 80s rock or 70s rock or 80s synth pop and stuff. So that's great. And then when we were doing stuff like Thor, where Taika Waititi really wanted analog synths with a giant Marvel orchestra, that was a lot of fun. My two favorite composers, Mark notwithstanding, are probably John Williams, obviously, and then Mike Post, because I grew up in the 80s, so every TV show I watched had Mike Post score on it. And they were all very singable. And even as a kid, I would always liked how he would break down like the A-Team theme in an emotional version when somebody was doing something dramatic, and then it would ramp up to the cool rock and roll music with guitars and stuff and horns and stuff. And being able to do that as a career was awesome. The first movie score that I remember really affected me was probably Superman. And like the opening shot of the planet Krypton, that first cue is just epic. It really sets me off. Even when they started using that piece of music to promo some of the newer Superman movies, it instantly made me like, okay, I'm in, because I'm so emotionally attached to that score specifically that it's instant memories. When I first used LUX, we first got the first violins just as the beta patch, and I was instantly struck with how playable it was and how like big it sounded, but could very easily become very quiet, and the dynamics of it just completely blew me away. And then when we finally got the full string section, the first thing I did was just open up the basic string patch of the whole orchestra, and I could not believe the sound coming out of the speakers. It really felt like I was in the room conducting a string orchestra. While I've definitely had a lot of wow moments with sample libraries in the past, there hasn't been one that made me feel like I was in the room with the strings. That was very exciting. And the first hour I just sat playing chords and basic string lines because it was just so inspiring. I just couldn't stop. It was so much fun. I love how the articulation sets are grouped together to where they give you suggestions about like fantasy or horror or whatnot, and the GUI of it all is very deceptive of how deep it goes, and it's very easy to dramatically change the instrument with just the click here and there. And then when you get into how many articulations are involved in the instrument, it's kind of overwhelming, and I still haven't gone through all of them. The articulation sets that it come with are so complete in a way that unless I find like a really niche thing, I don't even know how much further I would go in to the rest of the articulations. And that's kind of a shame because there's so many of them, and all of them that I played with were just so much fun. And being able to dynamically switch them very easily is something that's great, because even with the other libraries I use to set up any of the dynamic switches that are just automatically in LUX takes a lot of routing and time, and it takes me out of the creative aspect. So now that I have instant access to multiple articulations that can change within the one performance is so inspiring, and it's just really helps me save time and effort and keeps me in the moment so I can just keep creating. The amount of articulations that come with the library is borderline overwhelming, especially for someone that has very fast deadlines and doesn't have a lot of experimentation time. And the best part of the articulations that I've found is the naming of them. For the most part, it just sounds like what you would think it would sound like. Because some of the articulations of some libraries, like it says one thing and I think it's going to sound one way and it doesn't. And I just have to make a mental note with that. And so far with LUX, every time I've picked something, it sounds exactly the way I thought it would sound. So again, that makes it really easy to dynamically change the articulations that I'm using and not be surprised by anything. The only thing that I can say is I can't wait for the rest of the orchestra to be released. If the strings are this good, I want to hear brass like this. I want to hear percussion like this. I want to hear woodwinds like this. It's amazing.